Hey guys, MetalJesus here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Fast and Furious Arcade Edition. This game kind of came out of nowhere. It's on the PlayStation 5, which is the version that I have, as well as the Xbox and the original Switch, and it's at a budget price of $30 on Amazon. And so I thought I would take a chance on it based on that price, but I have to admit, this is not an easy recommendation. There's some things I like about it, but there's also some major caveats. Now, as you can guess, this is based on the Fast and Furious movie franchise. I don't know exactly which one. I'm guessing the fifth movie, but I'm not an expert in those movies. But this was originally released back in arcades in 2004, and it was developed by Raw Thrills. And they are a great developer of arcade racing games. They made Cruisin' Blast originally for the arcades, but then they ported it to the Switch, and that was such a good game. So when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna give this game a shot. But this is more of a direct port of that original arcade game that came out over 20 years ago. So I do feel like $30 is a bit high for such a bare bones release, but let's get into the specifics here. This game comes with 8 fully licensed cars, each with their own racing stats. Although I have to admit, and as we get into this, I'm not entirely sure if those stats actually matter or not, but at least it's cool that you have actually licensed cars here. Although 8 isn't great, especially when you compare it to Cruisin' Blast, which had over 20 different vehicles, including some truly whimsical rides. Like you had UFOs that you can unlock, monster trucks, school buses, and even sharks. So that game had over 3 times as many vehicles. I should clarify that each one of these vehicles does have 2 modes. It has a standard and it has a furious mode. So the way that you unlock the furious version of each vehicle is that you have to finish first in each of the 6 races with that particular car to unlock that. So there's 8 licensed cars, but technically each has 2 different versions of it, and you can kind of see that here. So, you know, the standard one's on the left, and then the furious one is on the right. A little bit better stats. Also, it's got a little bit more bling to it. Personally, I would have just preferred to have more cars, but yeah, it is what it is. And when it comes to the tracks, you have 6 of them, and they're pretty big. And I have to say, one of the things I love about these games is that they have great level design. They are crazy. If you play Cruisin' Blast, you know what you're getting yourself into here. Specifically, they are just, oh man, there's so much going on here. So many things going on in the background. Plus, there's these massive over-the-top jumps that you'll take. It's funny because in these games, if you've never played them, you're afraid to blink your eyes. So much is happening. It's just absolutely insane. And as you can tell, it's also one of my favorite things about these games. They don't make them like this very often. And so when these type of games come along, I jump at the chance. I love it. Digging deeper into the actual racing. So the way that this works is that you'll have 2 laps on each of those tracks. And the first lap is pretty straightforward. There are no shortcuts. So that's basically just the track. You cruise around. And then the second lap, she'll actually announce that now shortcuts are open. And that's where, again, you can kind of deviate a little bit and try to trim your time. In this game, the power-ups are very important, and you have a couple of them here. The first one, it's this lightning burst thing that you get. Essentially, you drive over it, and then it kind of electrically charges your car, and then a couple seconds later, any other cars that are close to you will explode, and so that's very handy. You want to pick those up as often as you can. The other one you're going to want to pick up pretty much anytime you see it is Boost. Now, this is free Boost because you also in your car have Nitro Boost. You see it down there. And depending on the car, you'll have different amounts of Nitro Boost. And that gets to one of the things about this game that I don't like about it. And that is the rubber banding AI in the computer drivers is absolutely annoying, and frankly, it's unfair. I couldn't get first place no matter what I did. I would get so close. I mean, we're talking like you know, less than a second behind, but I would always get second. And I was like, what is going on here? I play a lot of arcade racing games. You know, I'm not a noob here. There is no other difficulty. There's just one difficulty for this game. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And then I noticed that Reggie had the game and he was unlocking trophies. And he was getting first place. So I was like, so I messaged Reggie. I'm like, Reggie, what am I doing wrong in this game? How are you pulling this off? And he told me the trick, which I'm going to tell you. And that is, again, the rubber banding AI is unfair. So what you have to do in this game is you have to not use your nitro that is built into your car until the end of the race. It's stupid. I know. It's completely unexplained. You would never know to do that because in every other game, yeah, you use a little bit of boost, a little bit of nitrous to kind of catch up. But in this game, because of the rubber banding, the AI will match you and you'll almost never get first place unless you save it till the very end of the race.
First place. Mission accomplished.
That said, you can pick up and use the boost that's on the track. And so it doesn't seem to affect the overall AI rubber banding at all if you do that. Also, those lightning burst power-ups, and also make sure and take every shortcut that you can. Once I knew that, this game started becoming way more fair and way more fun. As for the controls, they are very simple. You just use the right trigger for gas, and then you double tap that gas if you want to pull off a trick. For instance, the default double tap will do a wheelie, which you can then get a little bit of boost, but also like slam down on an opponent. Double tapping on the gas will also allow you to drift, which is very handy, and also you can go up on two wheels. Now, you do have left trigger for brake, but I never used it. Again, you look at the footage here, I mean, why would you ever slow down? I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here, but no, this is always about going as fast as you possibly can. One of the complaints I've seen online, and I totally get it, is that the controls definitely take some getting used to. You can see by this footage here that it's very twitchy in the steering. I mean, it's wild because, you know, we're used to games that have, or especially racing games that add weight to the car and, you know, some type of physics to it. This has none of that. The car feels like it's made of plastic and weighs like a pound, right? It's not realistic in any way, and that just makes the controls of this super twitchy. I actually kind of like it. I don't mind it that much. You can go into the settings and dial back the driving wheel sensitivity if you want. It's almost like they knew that was going to be a common complaint, and so they added it. The other thing about this game, it's pretty janky for sure. You know, this was released originally back in 2004, and as far as I can tell, they haven't done much to update this at all. And so you get in situations where, you know, you'll run into like a railing, and it seems like you're kind of stuck to it almost. It's really kind of frustrating. Or like a wall. If you get too close to a wall, it seems like you're kind of glued to it for a little bit. It's definitely kind of annoying, and so you're going to want to avoid that. Also, sometimes you'll just fly through objects and just keep on going. Now, honestly, this is welcome most of the time because, as you can see from this footage, this game is fast and the computer opponents are brutal. So you almost need that extra jank to just stay in the race. There is also a split-screen multiplayer option, and that's pretty fun as well, especially if you got a big television. My nephew and I were playing that the other night, although this game definitely would have benefited from online multiplayer to help extend the life of this game a little bit. That's definitely a bit of a bummer. And so overall, this game is painfully short. I was able to pretty much unlock most of the trophies in about an hour and a half. I still need to unlock some of the higher ones, and then there's a trophy where you have to play 25 multiplayer games, which, again, Will and I might do that over a weekend at some point. It's funny because when Will came over and we were playing this, you guys are seeing the multiplayer footage here, I asked him, I was like, you know, how much do you think this game costs? He had no idea. I didn't tell him beforehand. And he was like, maybe $10. And I was laughing because I'm like, you know, it's a little bit more than that, right? So what I would say is this game really is, it should be about a $10 or $20 game, in my opinion, because it really almost feels like DLC. You know, this is for the person who really loved Cruise and Blast, and you just kind of want more of that. Well, that's kind of what this is. And so while I don't think that $30 is completely outrageous, to be honest with you, I don't regret my purchase at all. But, you know, only 8 cars, 6 races, maybe about an hour to 2 hours of content. Yeah, it's pretty light. The other thing you might want to consider is that supposedly the Switch version does not run great. It only runs at 30 frames a second, where, as you see here on the screen, PlayStation 5, you're getting full 60. I never noticed any slowdown whatsoever, so I think that's the version to get. Overall, I do wish they would have added more to this game, kind of like they did with Cruise and Blast. They took the original arcade version and just added more stuff to, I don't know, just jazz it up, because it's such a fun game that it's a bummer that it's so bare bones. But I would love to know what you think down in the comments below, and as always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing, and take care.